Welcome everybody to this knowledge management webinar. We are going to make an update of the work that we did in the working group during the last fifth board meeting in Brussels a few weeks ago. You know that we are in the second year of the ERN, and that for the first 2 years, the main targets were to identify critical knowledge and to set up the means to share this knowledge. So we deliver many surveys regarding quality and safety, healthcare, research, etc. And we collect the information from all of these surveys. And finally, we did a specific survey for critical knowledge during the fourth ERM meeting in Madrid. We collected overall 21 surveys in situ during the board or by email in the following weeks. The 6 critical knowledge topics identified were donor graft selection, complications management, immunosuppression monitoring, tolerance, transition to adulthood, PTLD, and the results are summarized in this radar graph as you see here. So the activities of the rest of the working group that apparently were working separately in a separate way actually converge here because we are doing in research a work, multicentric work regarding HABO compatibility, which is donor organ graft selection, and we are doing our clinical practical guideline regarding immunosuppression monitoring, that is the third topic, and we are doing also research in tolerance and some cell therapy here in the coordinating center, and finally we try to apply for a grant in a protocol for transition to adulthood. So somehow we are already focused in the real critical knowledge areas. Another thing that were discussed there was the process for sharing documents. We need a formal checklist because you very kindly provide us with a lot of high quality documents, but before we can share them, we need to establish like a common format for everything. Otherwise, it wouldn't be very helpful to have them without this common structure. So for the formal list, we propose the stamp of the ERM, the date, the type of document. You know that the European Commission is working in a taxonomy, and they're going to tell all the type of documents that are going to be shared by the ERMs in an English abstract for those documents that are not written originally in English. The procedure to upload the documents is send the document to the coordinator's email. Some modification would be proposed, probably just regarding the format of the document, not the content. And finally, probably you will receive a consent that you need to sign before we can share it in the ERM. The consent form is not elaborate yet, but we are working on it. And the last activity and the main activity of this working group was the taxonomy, and this is a different thing that we are doing with the European Commission. This is not a taxonomy for all the ERN. This is a specific taxonomy for our ERN for TransplantChild. What is a taxonomy? We all use and produce taxonomies every day, but it's somehow difficult to define. It's a basic classification system that enables us to describe concepts and their dependencies, typically in a hierarchical fashion, but not only in this way, as we can see later. It involves identifying, defining, comparing, and grouping elements, and is driven by consensus. It's not driven by the real characteristic of issues or objects. Is driven by consensus. So it's most important to think that we are going to use many people that we have to agree in what we are talking about. These are two examples of taxonomy. That's why I was saying that all of us produce taxonomies every day. The way would you put your screen on the computer, for example, is a taxonomy. You can see an example in the left side, a very organized and tiny screen, and on the right side, a very chaotic one. And this is okay. Both of them are equally good when this is for personal use. But a taxonomy is to use by everyone in the ERN, so we need to agree in which of the formats we want our knowledge to be organized. So one very useful tool to organize knowledge is to perform a knowledge map. This was done here and presented in the third board of the ERN. You have to know and to decide what is knowledge for your specific organization, in this case the ERN, why it's necessary to do knowledge management or to manage knowledge, who is doing knowledge management in some way, all of us, where are we going to share and use our knowledge in the HCP on media, in the European Commission website, and in the TransplantChild website. How? You have seen here that the different types of knowledge are managed differently. And finally, when? Face-to-face meeting, in the boards, virtual meetings, etc. And the last activity regarding also this knowledge organization, this taxonomy, was card sorting. So we distributed the people work in the working group in separated subgroups, and we gave them cards. This is a technique they call card sorting. The cards were labeled with the same topics for all of them, and they had to do their personal organization. We didn't make any additional. We didn't give them any additional information, so everyone was free to organize the topic, and everyone was free to add new topic and to create categories and subcategories. And what we have was this. Three very different ways of organizing all the topics. I don't want to go into the detail in the level of every card, just to see the structure, the distribution of cards. Here we have a type of organization of taxonomy. Here you have a different type of taxonomy. You can see here that they are like separate clusters that are not very connected. Here here you have different columns of topics, but here you have some connection between two different columns. So they have clusters, but they are somehow connected. And finally, this is a very tiny, well-organized taxonomy in which we have a separate cluster. They are not connected. And to summarize the findings of the three groups, because we have to perform a further analysis to see which way we're going to do the final taxonomy, but we can summarize by saying that all of them are not hierarchical, are partitional. So it's not a tree, it's not like a very close hierarchy. On the other, it's the opposite. It's like a partition of knowledge, with not a common branch on top. So, but all of them are partitional. You can see here, and the last one, and they are. This is overlapping because two of the clusters are connected. This is not overlapping. This is exclusive, and this is also exclusive. Sorry. So we have one with overlapping and the other one are not. And finally, all of them are complete because no card was out of the taxonomy. They all use all the cards available, and actually, some of the groups add additional topics. So we can summarize by saying that we are going to perform like a mix of these three categories, establishing probably a partitional and not hierarchical taxonomy, it's gonna be mostly exclusive, but with some overlapping. And finally, this is gonna be a complete taxonomy. We are going to include everything. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have, if someone is connected, if you have some questions, some comments. Okay, thank you very much.